right, so plan plan 9.
First, you greet the audience.
They don't exist. They're not there. They're not tangible. They're not in the room.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exhilarating episode of Films with Glasses.
I just want to talk to you.
Listen.
This is what this is. This is a documented conversation
between
the two of us.
No. Welcome to Films with Glasses, the show where I, Chris, and
Rhett,
we talk about movies. Some of them are good, and some of them are bad. And today, I made Rhett watch a bad one. Would you like to tell everyone what that movie was, Rhett?
Plan 9 from Outer Space. I don't want to have any agenda with this conversation. I want this to just freely flow, because for the most part, we've kept our comments to ourselves and our opinions of it. We've saved it mostly. Like, if something came up during the viewing that we just had,
we would joke. We would
say it. We had little quips. We were obviously sort of in pain by the experience.
My head hurts bad.
It is one of those, like, you watch it, and the more you pay attention, the more your brain cells go. Usually, the mark of a good piece of work is the more you invest and the more you pay attention, the more you like it, and the less you pay attention, the more you dislike it. With this, the more I watched it, like, the more I paid attention. Like, those were the parts.
I had a better experience when I wasn't paying attention to the movie. And
when I was just when I was dozing off, and then I looked at it in the corner of my eye every so while. I was like, wow, this is...
Just so everyone knows, we watched the color restoration of it.
Yeah, kind of, I think, made it a better experience.
Yeah, honestly, if you can find a color copy of it, I recommend it. Just because the glaring flaws in this piece of media are much more obvious
and
when
also,
you watch it in color.
I think it just made it more interesting in terms of, like, if we watched it in black and white, I feel like we would have gotten more bored with it.
I would have fallen asleep. I also would have shut it off.
Because black and white, for better or for worse, does make your movie look like better with a bunch of asterisks next to better.
So I hate black and white movies. I want this to be a well-recorded fact. I hate black and white movies. I don't hate all black and white movies, but in general, I hate the black and white format. And I get especially angry when movies try to sell me on the fact that they're in color.
You just don't like getting duped.
I don't like getting duped. I have been duped by 2 to 3 movies that said they were in color on the box, and then I put it in and it's in black and white, despite there being color photos on the box.
Okay, yeah. I don't I'm going to argue for black and white, because I think that if a film has no need for color and doesn't use color in an interesting way, like doesn't have a color palette or doesn't have a special need, just have it in black and white. Like, honestly, it'll make it better. Like, the film, like Clerks, like, they couldn't afford color. Like, Kevin Smith couldn't afford to film it in color, nor did that movie need color. Like, the whole, like, when you watch Clerks, you don't think, like, oh, I wish I knew what... Now, there are instances of, like, movies where they just didn't have the technology to film it in color, like, or the money, because, like, 30s and 40s, like, Technicolor cost a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So it's like... There's some missed opportunities in there of, like, movies that they probably wish that they could have filmed in color, but just didn't end up being filmed in color. There's a really popular colorization of It's a Wonderful Life, which I think is a pretty solid colorization. And I think for Plan 9 from Outer Space, this is a good colorization. Like, this does not take away from the from the work of art that this is. Like, I think this is justified. Would you agree?
Yes, completely.
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to any of your conversation.
You looked like you just had
first I was checking
emergency.
First, I was doing a body scan to see if I have a cavity, and then second, I was checking my pulse.
And then you checked your pulse.
Because this conversation made me feel clinically dead. But yeah, no, this is definitely worth it if you can pick it up colorized.
Yeah, this is the superior version of the film. It's a very crisp restoration. Like, it
looks... okay, first off, that's not true. Certain parts of it are very crisp.
Yeah,
such
like
as
the very beginning
with stationary painting on the wall is a very crisp recoloration.
Yeah, the matte paintings look very good.
Hey, I figured out what the bomb's called.
What's the bomb called? Yeah, how do you...
Solaranite.
Yeah, the alien super whip.
After 8 failed attempts, Plan 9 is their scheme to reanimate Earth's dead by building a zombie army.
He's reading from the back of the Blu-ray case that we have.
Yeah.
No, the beginning and end, like the bookend with like Chriswell,
Yes.
the fortune teller, the kind of like the psychic.
Amazing.
Yeah, it looks like it was filmed yesterday. Like,
Oh, I just meant the dialogue is amazing.
the dialogue's amazing too.
Future events such as these
There are
may
moments,
affect you in the future.
There are certain moments of dialogue where it's like, wow, this is advanced stupid. This is like,
God,
it's not
English was not his first
It is,
language.
like, in terms of vocabulary, like, pretty solid. In terms of logic and reason, nowhere near a base level.
This is very interesting as a movie because it's one of those rare films that you watch and it's in English. You don't need subtitles. You can understand what the people are saying. You know the words, but when they're put together in this way,
gibberish.
it's incomprehensible. And Tor Johnson, don't get me started on Tor Johnson.
I'm surprised because he's
unintelligible. Just say it. He can't speak English.
I hear but it's just,
rest in peace, Tor Johnson.
Like, I understand what he says, but that's not how a normal human speaks. And also, he flubs his lines just on which I'm surprised that like in this viewing, he's like the only one who like flubs his lines and then it's just like kept in.
I disagree. I think
really.
I think there were several lines. I think every line was flubbed.
I think that's just. No,
you can't,
because of the screenplay.
You can't convince me that guy. I think.
If you give me an example, then I might
Bunny
agree with you.
Breckenridge forgot his lines at one point because he asked alien guy the question that he asked him when he walked in, and then just kind of started I think he was freeballing there.
No,
for a second.
that's all Ed Wood. Ed Wood, if you don't know,
glorious man.
Writer, director, producer,
actor. Not in this movie, but
not
actor.
In this movie, just in general.
Mm-hmm. War criminal.
Transvestite. Unrelated.
Unrelated to everything we've mentioned, but just a fact to know.
He died penniless, alcoholic in the 70s after making a string of pornographic films. This was before the era. This was made, I actually don't know what year. I've just been referring to it.
56?
Just 59.
59.
So 2 years after 12 Angry Men. same year as...
The same year as Brokeback Mountain.
No. Chris, I don't think you have. You see, I've been paying attention. I've been paying attention to the words you've been saying lately. Mm-hmm. Just in turn, because sometimes when I hear you speak, I kind of doze off. I love you, but I don't hear the tiny details.
Yeah, most people do.
You thought that Jaws was made in the 80s. I have a recorded document. It was made in 1975. Which is right smack dab in the 70s.
No, because he had that cameo in Star Wars?
That's as far... Jaws is as far away from... Wait, the shark? What are you talking about? Jaws is as far away from the 80s as 1995 was. Chris,
the shark?
Chris,
he was in the
okay, here's my thesis. Everything you say is bullshit.
No, he was in the Senate scene in Phantom Menace.
That's E.T.
No,
idiot. That's Bruce the Shark.
That's the shark. God, the audio levels are spiking so hard. Yeah, he's there, and the Close Encounters of the Third Kind is there.
Schindler's List, the little girl in the red dress is there. Indiana Jones
is in that scene.
He's in Star Wars.
Yeah. Did you know there was a Star Wars crossover where Han Solo and Chewbacca crash landed on Earth?
I actually know about this. I want to talk about this.
And then Indiana Jones finds a fossilized Han Solo and Chewbacca's Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
yeah, because it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Crash land on Earth. Han Solo dies.
And then
Chewbacca is Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones hunts down Sasquatch.
God, I can't wait till we get to a Bigfoot movie.
I can't wait till we get to the live action adaptation of that in 100 years when we were fully able to replicate Harrison Ford.
I thought, never mind. I thought that was going a different direction. I can't wait till we get to a Bigfoot movie and I can just unload my Sasquatch knowledge.
There have been tons of Bigfoot movies.
Yeah, we're
Chris.
gonna
I don't know.
We're gonna get to that. Also, the Ape Canyon noise.
So one thing I was surprised with was how many shots of Bela Lugosi there were.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought there was just the one at the beginning.
But so if you don't know,
This
Bela Lugosi in the middle and close to the very start of the production of this film,
he died.
And he is in the movie. And the movie was marketed as Bela Lugosi's last
final film.
And throughout the last 5 years before this was made, Bela Lugosi and Ed Wood were friends because Bela Lugosi was washed up. He was addicted to morphine.
Yes.
And then he died. And Ed Wood had a little bit of footage left of him. Mm-hmm. So basically, if this film was filmed around that, they got Ed Wood's girlfriend's dentist.
Yes. Or chiropractor. No, it's dentist.
It was chiropractor. Yeah, okay, but it's like American Gothic. It's like
I don't know what
American Gothic. The dude with the pitchfork was actually
I see what
was
you're
actually
saying.
the painter's dentist.
I'm sorry. I thought American Gothic was some obscure movie that only you know about that I do not want to hear about. No, you're talking about the painting, which I also don't care about.
But no, it's so he is the double for Bela Lugosi.
Yes.
And you can tell which shots of him it's not Bela Lugosi
because he covers the bottom
of his face and he has gray slicked back hair, which I'm pretty sure is a wig.
Yeah, because he's bald. Apparently, he was bald.
All our information is coming from the Tim Burton Ed Wood movie.
Some of it's coming from the trivia page of IMDb that I read about 4 months ago. So,
there's so many. So we've already discussed the dialogue. How it's just incomprehensible.
Well, I want to bring up one thing with the dialogue. I wrote down 2 pieces of what I assume are slang that I refuse to believe anybody ever said.
Okay, what were
I refuse to believe that anybody ever said a plane was a flybird, as used in the sentence, "You gotta focus on flying this flybird." That's dialogue. I didn't make that up. And then morgue wagon for ambulance.
I heard you say
hearse.
Yeah,
maybe?
I paused it to go to the bathroom at one point, and I just heard you mumbling to yourself morgue wagon.
Yeah, he says better call the morgue wagon. Here comes another one. I don't know. I also... Do you just want me to go through my notes?
Yeah.
Rhett didn't want to take notes, but I took a couple.
I just...
in the infamous plane scenes where it's clearly a cardboard box.
It's just a room.
Yeah. There's we mention... There's 6 protractors glued on the wall.
And there's
a clipboard
just on the wall.
Now, I've never flown a plane before. I don't think Rhett has.
I'm pretty sure there isn't a clipboard just on a... Also, it's just like a wall.
Yeah,
it's not. It's a plain wall.
It's like a house
on the right,
wall.
there's a clipboard. In the middle, there's a curtain separating the... Yeah, this was pre 9/11 when they had curtains that separated the passengers.
1959.
Back in the good old days when you could smoke on an airplane and the only thing separating you and the pilots was just a saloon curtain.
I don't think
you could just waltz on in there, say hi to the pilots, chat a little bit, then head back to your seat.
I guess planes were like that. I don't think so, though. I also wrote down Tombstone. Which is a reference to the infamous graveyard scene where they zoom out and show a tiny headstone and the dirt beneath it rumbling.
There's a miniature shot of and it shows
it's the best miniature shot in the film.
So Tor Johnson, the wrestler turned actor,
Tor Johnson,
who is in this movie, his character who is a sheriff of sorts.
Man.
he dies early on. Then
Yes.
when in the scene where he rises from the grave, there's a miniature shot of like the dirt falling back into the ground.
Yeah.
And then him coming out. But this miniature shot, it looks
The tombstone is very tiny.
looks really off.
Yeah.
Yeah, the tombstone is really tiny.
But then they zoom in on him coming out of the ground, and the tombstone's taller than he is. It's huge. The perspective is so far off.
So a little, not a lot of attention to detail in those little places.
Fact though, the one thing they did get right in the miniature shot, the tombstone fell into the grave. That was actually the original purpose of tombstones. They believe that if you put a heavy enough stone above a coffin,
They couldn't get out.
that's it. Also, apparently, they carve names into people's coffins for like identification. They said that. I know that they kind of do that in New Orleans because the cemeteries flood so much, so they have to have some way of identifying the bodies so they can bury them again. But I don't think California would have that.
Yeah, when they got to his casket, they were like, look at the name on his casket.
Go in there and look at the name.
And I was that was a very can we talk about though? This film is very unremarkable. It's very.
This gets a lot of hype as the worst movie ever made.
It's
and
not.
I don't think it deserves that.
Same way,
frankly.
Citizen Kane is not the best movie ever made. It's not. I don't like these like labels of this is the best of it, like period.
Okay, first off, there's definitely a worst movie ever made. I have it over there.
It's a crime.
It's Ape Canyon. Or it's Stereotypes Don't Just Disappear into Thin Air.
Or it's Reservoir Cat. It's
Reservoir Cats.
It's probably Stereotypes Don't Disappear into Thin Air.
Until we watch the worst horror movie ever made. People are going to have no idea what we're talking about.
Do or don't look up Stereotypes Don't Just... Well, actually, no. Just think about the title, Stereotypes Don't Just Disappear into Thin Air. And then just let your imagination fly.
Whatever you're imagining is nowhere near what the actual movie is.
I promise you that's the worst film ever made. I can guarantee
Until we watch the worst horror movie ever made.
I mean, yeah, I feel like there's a search for the worst. We're never gonna...
No, we found it. It's somewhere over there.
It's somewhere here in Chris's basement.
It's hidden somewhere. It's probably on a Pendulum Pictures pack. Probably, but no guarantee.
Pendulum Pit. That's the Shady production company, isn't it? Like that one that has
This is a tangent, but this is kind of related to the topic.
No, this is so interesting.
I Red Letter Media, who we're big fans of, talked about Suburban Sasquatch, which they said they got on a Pendulum Pictures pack. So I had my eidetic memory store that specific name, Pendulum Pictures. And then I went to a Comic-Con and I found some guy selling Pendulum Pictures pack. So I bought all of them. They were like $2 a piece. It was great.
No, but then, sorry to interrupt, but then you try to look up Pendulum Pictures online.
I'm going to get to that. That. So then I went online to look up Pendulum Pictures, and
I'm gonna get to that after.
So, first off, they have a shady Amazon page that you click on, and then it's not the product that you're selling they're selling.
Yeah.
And then you go further into the Amazon page, and the only other product that the guy sells is another 4-pack of movies, none of which, from what I can tell, are films licensed by Pendulum Pictures. But that's kind of weird. But I found 50 packs online, and so I had to get them. And I poured well over $200 into those movies.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I wonder if they sell any more. So I went online and I looked up Pendulum Pictures, and they have no digital footprint, no website, no place you can look them up, nothing.
And then this is when, if I'm not mistaken, you went to Twitter and you contacted Len Kabasinski.
Yes, Len Kabasinski, who is a hero,
famous.
Independent.
Is it too mean to say bad director? I like the guy. I really like.
I like his movies.
He's a sweet
You're
man.
just mad because you can't see him. You're just angry because you can't see his movies.
You see, that has a double meaning because I don't own any of his films, so I can't see them when I want to. I don't have access to them.
But also his films are so dark.
His films are you can even if you're watching them, you're not seeing them.
Curse of the Wolf is so badly lit.
I contacted Len Kabasinski on Twitter.
Yes.
And
he's a super nice guy. He's really nice.
He's a really
Len, if by some miracle you hear this,
We love you.
We love
Thank
you. You're
Keep
great.
doing what you're doing. Honestly,
Someday
like,
we'll review one of your movies. I promise.
No, but yeah, I said a mean joke to him. Like
Yeah.
I just tweeted out, I'm like, "Hey Len, I'm trying to watch your movie, but I wish I could see the movie."
No, you said, I wish I could see Curse of the Wolf. I mean, I'm watching it right now, but it's too dark.
But I can't see it.
And then he tweeted back,
And he
which
said,
was amazing.
And he said, "I'm sorry. This is down to like the people who make like the multi-packs.
Yeah.
Because it's like they'll mark.
They just compress them.
It'll
They
be
put
like a case that
4.
like says like 4 movies,
Yeah.
but it'll be 2 discs. So they like cram 2 movies onto a single disc.
Sometimes they cram 4 because they use both sides.
Yeah, and like the video quality is obviously like a detriment to doing this.
Yeah.
And so he basically said like, I promise you, like
The Amazon version
like
is better.
yeah, like the Amazon like they look better.
Yeah.
But like I have no control over like these multi-pack people.
So anyway,
which was really nice.
Back
yeah.
to finding out about Pendulum Pictures.
So yeah, then he DM'd you about
we went on a tangent to a tangent.
Yeah.
So I tweeted at him, and he DM'd me back, which was super nice of him. He didn't have to take time out of his day to do this. But he said they're a subsidiary, I think that's the right word, of Mill Creek Entertainment, which if any of you have ever bought a multi-movie pack, chances are it's by Mill Creek Entertainment.
Mill Creek Entertainment is very sleazy. I've had multiple
50 packs.
Like if you go to any
films.
kind of like discount store or dollar store, at least in the southwestern Pennsylvania,
great state of Pennsylvania,
probably the best state in terms of like bad movies that are made. Like this is a legendary, for whatever reason, there's an effect of like just like people in their middle ages that are like, I'm gonna make a Sasquatch movie.
Bigfoot the movie,
and guess what?
Starring Pittsburgh Dad.
Yeah, they live in Pennsylvania. Yeah,
So
another Bigfoot movie is
easy
being
access to the woods
right now.
It is?
Yeah, I told you about this.
I didn't.
Yeah, no, it's an internal fact though, because at any given, it's like. This is a new like law and or principle of the universe, is that in Pennsylvania there's will always currently a Bigfoot movie is being filmed.
You're probably right.
Len Kabasinski lives in Pennsylvania.
Yes, he does. Super nice guy.
Ah, we should.
Len, you want to Skype, buddy? Just let us know.
No, he's got a life. He's got he's off on his own.
Yeah.
Good on him. He's a family man.
Yeah.
Just keep let's not bother him.
You're just scared he's gonna kick your ass.
Can't see my movies, huh?
Boom! You're floored, buddy. You're floored.
What were we talking about?
Plan 9 from Outer Space. Also, the shadiness of Mill Creek Entertainment.
Oh yeah, no, Mill Creek. So it's like you go to any discount store, there will be like a Mill Creek like movie pack there.
Yeah.
And I've like for whatever reason I've owned multiple like Mill Creek distributed DVDs. Over
if
the
you
years.
want me to, I'll go get one and just start listing off.
They have the licensing for like a bunch of TV shows. Like they have the licensing to
all of them.
for
Every single
for
one.
like That 70s Show. Like like
they're the biggest.
Yeah.
Because they bought up all the small ones.
Yeah.
They make their money off of confused grandmas who think that spending $50 for 30 public domain films is a steal.
I think it was like in the 90s and the early 2000s, like there wasn't that much of like a market for like home video television.
No.
And Mill Creek bought it all up, and now that it's like a thing that like people want to own their like old favorite TV shows, Mill Creek has like the monopoly, like almost. And so that's how they're just such a sleazy.
Yeah. If anybody from Mill Creek happens to hear this, please don't sue
The Mill
us.
Creek people are gonna come and shoot our knees.
Don't like our movie packs, huh?
Just break our ankles.
Oh, you don't like our movie packs, eh? Well, I don't like the way your knees are still allowing you to walk.
This Plan 9 Blu-ray is distributed by Legend Films, which sounds like a very
official.
a very yeah.
I'm trying to see which of these are Mill Creek distributions from like here, but I can't.
From like 10 yards away. What is it?
I can't. Well, I can see all the Pendulum Pictures 50 packs.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Chris is a superhuman. Yeah, you're the worst because you're a. I feel
Oh
like
wait, I can see one. Croczilla plus 7 public domain films.
you're the type of person in like a comic book or graphic novel format who
Yeah.
like is like foreshadowed as someone who will become a supervillain of like you just behave that way. Like there are little quirks about your character. I will give you something to read, like say a full page of something. Within
Yeah.
15 seconds, you've read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like you're a genuine speed reader.
Yes.
And that frightens me. Because I'll give you something to read and you're like, you'll look at it for a split second and be
Yeah.
like, ha, that was funny. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you're not.
Yeah.
Something going on with this guy. Like they're a little
I'm speed reading your mind right now. You're thinking
Eventually-
about how much you hate Plan 9 from outer space.
Eventually Chris will get. I don't hate it. I just didn't enjoy the experience remotely.
Can
at
we
all.
talk about how this movie is actually not the worst movie ever made because we stopped talking about it about 15 minutes in and have been rambling for the past 10 minutes?
Well, I feel like the worst movie ever made, and I can't guarantee this because there are no documented cases of it, but I feel like it would make you like kill yourself if you actually sat down and watched it. Like you would really.
No, I disagree.
It would really put you into a slump depression, like the worst film ever made.
No, the worst film
in the world ever.
No, you're
The
wrong.
worst film ever
You're-
made. If we put it on, we would not be in the mood
You're-
to sit down here
You're
and
wrong.
record this.
You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Okay.
The worst movie ever made would make you feel so. You would be on a high because you have found.
You would.
I would be on a
wouldn't.
high. You would be just. You would be depressed. I would be so overjoyed. I dream.
Yeah, you would
of
be like, I
being-
found it.
I would dream of being the guy who finds the next room. That's why I buy these 50 packs. Because somewhere in those 200 movies is another The Room that never got distributed in theaters, but is somewhere in that 50 pack that was sold to Pendulum Pictures, the shady shell company of Mill Creek, for 15 cents that is sitting on this shelf. And someday we're going to find it and talk about it. And we're going to be famous.
10 years from now, Chris is in like the catacombs of France, and he's like, he's got a flashlight. He's like running along a corridor. He's like, oh, I found it, and like you shove aside the Ark of the Covenant, and there's a DVD underneath it. You're like, oh my god, the worst movie.
Jesus' home films. Wacky pranks with Jesus and the disciples.
It's a Blu-ray. Oh my god. 1080p. It's gonna look like shit.
I don't understand that joke.
Well, no, because when it's like a VHS quality, it's like it kind of the how bad a movie looks is like kind of hidden. When you get a crisp, like as much as high quality.
Stop
as
calling
you
this
can.
crisp. It's not
No,
crisp.
when you get as high quality like restoration as you can,
Yeah.
the garbage visuals really pop out. You really see them. You really.
I disagree. I think the garbage visuals pop out no matter what. Do you not remember when we watched the Fantastic Argoman?
Oh yeah, that looks like
Dreadful.
Well, I mean, but subconsciously you just kind of because like if the whole thing looks like
Do you
garbage.
want to talk about the Fantastic Argoman?
Yeah, let's talk about
it.
That's a really
Double episode. Please,
we're shifting.
please pause your listening device right now and pretend you put on a second episode. Or maybe Rhett will cut this into 2 episodes.
No, this is all here, baby. This you're gonna have to pause this.
Yeah.
Go off in your kitchen.
Wait 20 minutes.
Contemplate the idea of of us talking about a whole different movie. Come back.
Yes.
Resume it.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Wait. Shh. Quietness. My phone vibrated. Quiet. Okay, here we go. We're back. So, Plan 9 from Outer Space gets called the worst movie of all time, which I don't disagree with because there's like, I mean, I'm sure if you watched it with more than one other person, it might be kind of funny, like if you do it in a huge group. But there's some movies out there that I feel like don't get enough attention. One of those movies that I like to bring up today is one that I saw before, and I didn't even realize I owned it.
And you fully introduced me to this.
Yes. And this is The Fantastic Argoman, otherwise known as, I think, The Amazing Mr. X. It's one of those films that has 2 titles.
So in this, there's some dated things in this film.
It's from the
The 60s. I would assume the 60s.
It's in full color,
It's
so
very
it probably is.
I feel like there's a lot of influence from like James Bond. Like it
Oh,
tries to
absolutely.
kind of be like that.
And there's also inspiration from like the early Spider-Man movies.
I feel like the aesthetic just kind of matches up because the Spider-Man TV show from the 60s.
I guess. Well, the superhero
Was that no, that was the 70s.
I don't know.
Who knows when this movie was
the
made?
Fantastic Argoman. I'm gonna summarize the plot.
I want to introduce people to this movie.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I want to go through the plot really quick.
Okay, yeah,
well,
sure.
Go ahead, introduce.
Well,
somebody.
no, the most notable thing about it is
it's weird and it's on a 4-pack of movies that you can't find.
Well, no, it's very not politically correct in the most hilarious ways possible.
What are you?
So when he has sex, he loses his superpowers.
No, it's to put it in the okay. Wait, all right, it's implied. It's not outright stated, but the butler says. He has a butler.
That's a plot point.
That is a plot point.
There's a sequence in the movie
where
he's running around bad guys, and he's got the watch, and he's looking at the watch,
and then
timing it perfectly.
He gets his ass kicked in the back of the truck. You remember that? He gets his ass kicked in the back of the truck for 5 minutes, and then his watch beeps.
And then he's like, time's up.
And then he instantly transforms and punches people out of the truck.
Exactly like 6 hours. He's like, Exactly 6 hours ago, I had coitus. Now I'm good. Now I've got my superpowers back. And this is basically like there's this weird tension.
I felt no tension.
No, you don't take it seriously at all. But for the hypothetical, for our imaginative mind, like we see this. We see him like kind of like finessing a girl, like seducing a girl.
Don't forget the way he seduced the girl is he first off he kidnapped her.
Yeah, it's not.
He used his telekinetic powers, which he just has.
It's not ethical.
He pulls her boat in, and then he pulls her out of the boat, and then they go to his house, and he says.
He's like, let's play a little game.
Listen,
and
lady,
if you lose the game,
if you win the game, your prize is me. No, wait. No, if you win the game, your prize is a car or a necklace. And if you lose the game, if I win the game, the prize is me.
Yeah.
And then he gives her a radioactive cigarette.
Oh, yeah!
We're jumping all over the place.
Yeah, it's fine.
Take it back for a sec. I want to go through the plot. So Argoman, the movie opens with Argoman in communist China?
Yeah.
And he's about to be executed.
Yes.
And are his hands tied, or does he have his hands free? Because I thought
I can't remember.
He puts his hands up to his head, and he just goes, "Kill yourself." And then all the soldiers shoot each other.
This is within 45 seconds.
And then he steals a car and drives away. And then he goes back to Russia, who he was working for.
I'm going to repeat that. In the first 2 minutes of the film, he is in captivity, and then he telepathically... And this is like a very like meme culture today thing. This sounds like something that you would dub over this to make it funny. Yeah. Like he telepathically
his eyes flash
and then you hear his inner voice say, "Kill yourself," repeatedly. He goes, "Kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself."
And then they all kill each other. It's crazy.
Kill each other. Kill each other.
And then he goes back to Russia and he steals the
like
cigar box.
Heroic spy music.
No, it's not heroic spy music. It's zany. Da 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 da. We'll put a clip in later, but it's like da 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 da. Okay, so then he goes back to his then the Queen's crown, the crown of England. The coronation crown. What is it?
I love how confused we are explaining the movie.
It's a crown, right? But it's like, it's not the Queen's crown. It's the crown that's in the Tower of London.
The more you talk about this, the more flashbacks to me originally watching the movie. Yeah. Because when you watch I really enjoyed watching it.
Oh, it was fantastic.
But like most of my mind has like pushed all of the memory of
repressed.
It's like repressed. Get that out of there.
Yeah, but okay, so the crown of England, I'm just going to call it the crown of England.
Yeah.
Gets stolen, and they have to call Argoman's alter ego, who is some stupid. Sir Reginald.
This
is
like
what he's named,
this
but
is
he
like
doesn't
in
have
the-
a last name.
This is like in the Batman 66.
This is totally Batman 66.
Yeah, no, it's very much that aesthetic, but it's like Batman 66 knew what it was. Like
yeah,
Batman
this
66
movie was almost serious, but in the wrong way.
it was a fun adventure film, or it felt like it was, but it came off completely as like
Yeah.
campy and like
I love
funny.
the Batman 66 movie.
Yeah,
by the way.
I think that is the best thing that came out of Adam West's run as Batman was but it's like when they call up Bruce Wayne to the
crime scene
and to discuss the crime.
But so he calls up. So Argoman for some reason is seen as a criminal, which is probably obvious because he clearly steals relics.
Yeah.
So let me try to get through this. So he steals. So somebody's stolen the crown, and they call Sir Reginald in, who's like a criminal psychologist, and he thinks Argoman does it, and he's like, no, Argoman didn't do it.
Oh,
They
I just
go-
remembered how much of a mess the climax of the film is.
We're gonna get to that.
I know, but
Hold
I
your
just thought
horses.
about it.
So he calls Sir Reginald in, and he comes, and Sir Reginald by this point had picked out a girl from his Rolodex of women's pictures.
Oh yeah.
He's
got.
but
No,
he
it's like a
kidnapped-
live chat.
Yeah.
It's Skype.
He's got a screen on his
Yeah.
wall.
But
where-
the screen's in her bathroom. Remember?
when Argoman gets bored, his butler comes in and he's
Yeah,
like, "Come
which-
on, cheer up!
Yeah.
You've got women."
and then his
he goes-
butler's like, I still don't want you to call the women because I worry when you lose your powers.
Yeah, no, that's the whole
Yeah.
like tension.
But he
It's they're
Let me get through the plot.
when he has sex, he has to have sex sometime. But when he has sex, it could all be a plot. In the next 6 hours, the world could collapse, and he can't do anything about it.
Let me get through the plot. I'm gonna have an aneurysm if you don't let me get through the plot.
Go.
So for the third time, the Crown of England gets stolen. They call Sir Reginald in. He says Argoman did it. Argoman didn't. There's like this inspector guy who's kind of important, but he's not. Crown of England gets stolen. They call Sir Reginald in. He has the lady over. The lady's name is Jezebel. She's the real evil one. The crown. Shut up. The crown gets shipped back to the police office, and she's like, "Look what I did. Give me the Hope some diamond.
It's the
It's not the Hope.
the Hope diamond.
It's not the Hope diamond, but it's some like magic diamond." And he's like, "Give it to me, or I'll blow up.
I'll blow your brains out.
I'll blow up France." Maybe was the
Yeah.
thing. I don't know. So she goes. So then it cuts back to Argoman, and he's like, "We gotta find her." And he's like, "Good thing I gave her my radioactive cigarette that I can use to track her through France with." And they track her to the Bank of France, and they're
Okay.
they're-
Oh yeah. No. So
let me.
no. I want to touch
I
upon
want to
the
talk about the
radio.
diamond. Let me talk about the diamond, and then you can talk about that. They show scientists testing a diamond, and the diamond, when you shoot light at it, they give some science mumbo jumbo. But the long and the short of it is, it makes metal flexible, because he got the coin. And then he bent the coin, and I think that's what happened, right? He bent the coin in half.
No, but doesn't he have this like attitude of like, I'm gonna take over the world
no,
with
well-
my bendy metal?
No. He's like, think of what could happen with bendable metal. And I'm like, what are you, like? I'm thinking like, why does
And
Jezebel
this is a group full of five
like generals, scientists, police
We're
officers?
watching this. This is a group of like five, I would
Six
say
intelligent people.
intellectually diverse people.
nobody
None of us can fathom how.
bending metal lets you take over because it's still strong, but it's still bendable. And then they're just like, we can't let this fall into the wrong hands. And I'm like, what? Okay, talk about whatever you wanted to talk about.
I wanted to touch upon the radioactive cigarette.
Oh, okay,
how
touch
big
upon
of
the
a,
radioactive
how
cigarette.
funny that is, because in the scene that we described earlier
and
of
it's
like
post-coital.
he in quotes seduces the girl.
Yeah.
They share a cigarette because it's the 60s. You
You're right.
smoke all the time, kind of blends into the background, and then later they just so happen to like they have to find her, and he's like, "Oh, this is perfect.
My radioactive cigarette. I have
cigarette-
a Geiger counter in my watch.
that cigarette that I gave her was a radioactive cigarette, and I can I can track the radiation."
I want to take one step back. Argoman.
He gave her cancer.
We give her cancer anyways. That's what cigarettes do. I want to take one step back. Argoman has an affinity for bathrobes that is not accurately
Yeah.
stated. He has a
Oh,
bathrobe.
I forgot.
He takes the bathrobe off, walks 30 feet, and then his butler
Puts on
hands
a
him,
different
his
colored
butler hands him
robe.
another bathrobe, and he puts it on. And then it cuts to the third scene where he kidnaps the girl, and he's wearing a different bathrobe. Also, he can hold his breath for 30 minutes using his superpowers.
I forgot. Yeah.
Somehow.
He's a Jedi. He's
Okay, so back to the plot, if I can get back to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So...
Do you think he's a Jedi? That
No.
he's the modern day Jedi?
No.
Is...
we haven't mentioned his costume. His costume
It's ridiculous.
is yellow and black
He's-
with a Cyclops from X-Men visor.
He's McDonald's man.
He has does he have an X on his forehead, or am I misremembering that?
Maybe. I can't remember.
Let me get the picture.
Yeah.
Talk about something for 1
Okay,
minute.
yeah, no, I think...
Does he have an X?
I'm just...
no. He has...
This came in
Here.
a 4-pack called Kick-Ass Heroes.
No, I have the picture here. It's a G? A triangle that's not put together
Let me
right?
see that.
What is it?
Is that the cult? Is it?
Oh, I can't.
What is it?
Wait, what is it? Oh my god, no, that's like a G. Or
It's
a
like a-
poorly drawn A.
Well, it's like it's a triangle, and then it doesn't like finish, and then it
Yeah,
goes off.
yeah.
I
This
don't-
is weird.
I don't get it.
So she steals the diamonds and also like 3 billion francs or whatever the French currency is, and then they cut back and Argoman's like, guess she got away or something. I don't know. I stopped paying attention at this point. And then there's a plane flying above and it drops money out. And everybody's like, she just ruined France's economy because now inflation is rampant. Or like she could ruin the economy because now she has the currency and maybe the plates for like printing money. I don't know. Somewhere along the line at this point, Argoman was in fact kidnapped. Or no, he followed a truck and then he got his ass kicked like we talked about earlier. And then he transformed into Argoman because his powers were drained. Then
No, because the time on
the
his
time
watch,
ran out, yeah.
which is I still cannot believe that that's
So then she seduces him, right? He
Well,
goes
there-
to her mansion.
Wait 1 sec. So there's this puzzle. There's this modern day puzzle of how do you make a Superman movie?
Yeah.
How do you make a compelling story of someone who is invincible?
Yes.
And that's kind of how you do
Without
it.
resorting to kryptonite, and I guess
And that's the funniest way you could, is that when they have coitus for 6 hours, powerless.
I want to talk about
They
real
have
quick.
nothing but their wits.
I think the inspiration from Argoman might have come from an old DC hero called Hourman, who had a special pill he could take that would give him essentially Superman powers. He'd have like super durability, like increased strength, he'd be fast or whatever. And then,
But he was
But he-
extremely
but it was-
unattractive.
it was only for an hour, and he had an hourglass in
Yeah.
his chest that would flip over.
This is
and
very
then it would-
familiar.
Yeah. I mean, Hourman hasn't been in any form of media in years
Yeah.
because he's literally the worst.
Yeah.
He's Aquaman tier.
Was he in the Batman, the Lego Batman movie? I wouldn't be surprised.
No, he's not a
because-
villain. He's a superhero.
Oh, okay.
he's
that's-
just yeah.
Really?
He was in the World War II, like the Justice Society, the old characters who fought
Wow.
crime. Yeah, but I think Argoman might have gotten his powers from him. But I forgot where
Yeah, so
the
what-
truck, and then Argoman goes to Jezebel's mansion. Right? Am I right at this point? He goes to her mansion, and she seduces him, but not enough. No, he gets on the bus. Remember? She leaves the ransom note. And the bus that she's like, send him in.
My mouth has been agape for the last 5 minutes.
Send him in an Argyle. Send him in like a brown tweed sweater on the bus, so I know who he is as like a hostage or like a negotiator. And then the guy gets on the bus, and then he's wearing the tweed, and then the bus is rigged to explode, and then Argoman causes a car accident. Do you remember this?
No.
And then the guy starts screaming about how he wants to sue
Chris,
the bus.
I don't remember this.
And then everybody gets off the bus except for Argoman and the other guy. And then he like does he incapacitates the other guy and then gets in a car and drives off. And Jezebel also has a TV in the back of her car a couple times. But then he goes to Jezebel's mansion and she almost seduces him, but he resists and transforms into Argoman. And then his girlfriend, who he Skyped earlier, is being held captive by a robot who has guns for hands. Do you remember? Let me know when you start remembering any of this.
I'm remembering bits and pieces.
The girl has a gun in her hands, but he's trapped on a platform that if he moves, the robot will kill her because of magnets. And then he puts a plant on it that weighs the same as him and runs to fight the robot. And then the robot...
Can we just skip to the third act?
No, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. Because the robot's attracted to magnets and his belt is magnetic. And then he rescues the girl. And then... Finally, Jezebel's plot is revealed at this point because he goes back to the French Prime Minister who kills himself. Remember, he jumps out the window, and then Argoman saves him, and then the police burst in, and it's like it's Argoman, and then they drop him, and then
the Prime Minister out the window
using his telekinesis, and he's trying to drag him back up, and then the police are like, "It's Argoman," and then he drops him.
Yeah, no, because he has to run from the police,
and then he jumps out the window and somehow gets away. I don't know how, but Jezebel's plot is revealed. Somehow this diamond that makes metal bendy is used to make clones of world leaders who are also robots that are under Jezebel's control. And through them, she will rule the world as a puppet master leader. Do you remember any of this?
You keep asking me, and I said I do remember the Prime Minister...
jumps out the window.
Because that was amazing.
Yeah, that was great.
That was so funny.
And we've been talking for
It doesn't
20
matter.
minutes. This is glorious. This is 2 episodes in one. So then she has a diamond. She has the thing.
You sound
Argoman goes to a party.
You sound completely...
I'm back on track. He goes to a party with other world leaders, and he puts more radioactive paint on them, so he knows which ones are under Jezebel's control. And then he escapes because someone starts fighting him, and he transforms into Argoman, and then he runs out. All the fighting is fantastic, by the way, because it's all poorly done punches and kicks. But then he escapes, and he goes into a bush, and he transforms back into Sir Reginald. And Sir Reginald's like, "Oh my God, Argoman just blew past me. I didn't have a chance to stop him." And nobody on Earth is able to piece together that he's Argoman. And then we get to the third act. Argoman's assault on Jezebel's fortress.
Chris, when I said that little things about your personality scare me sometimes, this is one of those things. This is what
I've seen this movie 2.5 times.
You remember every single plot point and how the plot flow. You could probably write a replica screenplay. If
I
you
could
wanted
write
to.
a replica screenplay.
It would probably be slightly better. Just in terms of the dialogue, because you know how people naturally speak.
I do?
Well, you could just imagine, you're just like, how would this person say this?
Yeah.
Okay, it's, what's incredible about these movies is how inept people are at, thinking of how someone else would speak.
Listen, you wanted to talk about the third act. I'm in the third act, all right?
Okay.
So... She has the diamond. She has the world leaders. Argoman realizes he needs to assault her palace. So he does. And he sneaks into her underground lair. And he kills several of her men by electrocuting them. But he throws the one guy in the pool. Do you remember that? He throws a couple
You remember that? You remember that? No, Chris, I don't remember that! Chris!
He throws a couple people from a second-level balcony just onto the floor, and then they don't get back up. And then she escapes. And then he, sees several robots of her. And she has the diamond with her. And the police are also doing,
You think this movie was test screened?
No.
Yeah, it was a rhetorical question.
Okay.
Because his character comes across in so many instances, even from the beginning scene of, how did they think he was a good guy?
Yeah, he's clearly not
from the tone. The movie thinks he's a good guy.
He's a Robin Hood.
From his actions, not a good. He's a killer. He's a
straight up
vicious,
psychopath,
cold-blooded killer,
sociopathic. So he escapes her lair.
Rapist.
Maybe not
Handsome.
That one.
He's got the charisma of a serial killer. He does not care how people think of him.
Who's the
which
guy?
Makes him so much more charming.
Purple Man. Is that the guy in Jessica Jones? Grimace, the villain in Jessica Jones. Grimace. No, who's the villain in Jessica Jones?
I don't know.
He's purple. You know what I'm talking about.
Thanos?
Isn't it Purple Man? I say it and I know it's not right.
Purple Man.
Give me a second. I'm gonna look. You look it up. I'm gonna finish the plot. Okay. So he escapes her fortress. The police are outside. They're like, "We got all the minions, but Jezebel's escaped. She had a plane." And I know you remember this part because you remembered how crazy the third act was. And she's in the plane, and Argoman's just like,
I remember a floating head. I remember there was a floating head at some point of a figure. Oh, was that the Red Eagle movie? Was that the? Oh God.
That's the Red Eagle.
Oh
movie,
God.
bro. That's
It's all
different.
blending together.
That's a different movie entirely.
The Red Eagle movie's on that pack,
Yeah,
though.
these are all like unknown classics, by the way.
So we should probably talk about this pack. The pack is like, it's a ripoff of like certain, like there's a RoboCop ripoff in here.
Robo-Vampire. I love that one.
Green Inferno,
Which is a Green Hornet ripoff, I
Green
assume?
Hornet. Yeah, I would assume.
But this one's
so.
about jungle. It hits the heart of the Amazon for big action. I don't know. Is that Argoman? That's not Argoman. Maybe it is. I can't tell from the pictures on the back.
I think it's Red Eagle. I think
Red Eagle's the one with the floating head.
I think I've been confusing.
Red Eagle's the one where they have the massive amphibious assault on the fortress.
Red Eagle's the one where the last shot of the movie
is him in the helicopter,
apparently,
and then he died.
Apparently,
right after
they cut
He
to credits,
slipped.
he fell off the ladder
Yeah.
and died.
Yeah. That's a story for another day.
Purple Man. His name is
Is it
Purple,
Purple
Man.
Man? I knew it.
What?
I knew it. He's essentially Purple Man with somewhat of a conscience.
What do you name him?
Finally, Jezebel's in the plane.
Purple Man.
Jezebel's in the plane. She's escaping. Argoman says, what is... He's got the fake almost British accent, like American British accent. He's like
the Dick Van
Yeah.
Dyke.
I've
Mary
got it.
Poppins.
I've got it. And he does the thing that he did at the beginning. And Jezebel starts screaming, and the plane she tries to steer the plane, but he's like controlling the plane, and she looks at the diamond, and then the plane explodes.
So the whole time
And then the police are like, "Thanks, Argo Man. Maybe we were wrong about you being a criminal." And then he's like, "You got that right." And then he jumps on a motorcycle and drives away, and the police are like, "Arrest him!" And then final scene of the movie, we look at Argo Man's treasure vault, and he has not only the Mona Lisa, but he stole the crown back from the beginning of the movie that was returned to the police, and his girlfriend's wearing it.
So my mind cannot differentiate between Argo Man, Red Eagle, and what's the subtitle to
The Hunter from the Future.
The Hunter from the Future.
I don't know how. These are three very different movies.
Because like the end of it's like it's on a beach and they're like robot stormtrooper type like.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's a jet at the end of
Yeah,
right?
he
Isn't
flies
there?
off in
and
a
there's
jet.
a jet in Argo Man.
No, that's a biplane.
Oh, okay.
And there's why do all of these movies end with like flying?
This is gonna put me in a mental hospital.
So that's the plot of Argo Man told over 15 minutes because Rhett wouldn't stop interrupting me. What did you want to talk about with Argo Man?
With Argo Man, no, just how. I mean, the stuff that I
There's
remember
a lot
from
to
Argo
unpack
Man
here.
is the way he seduces women and his opinions of
Do
women.
you remember?
And
do you
how
remember
ethically problematic his
Do you remember
actions are.
before he gets on the truck, he has to distract the henchmen that are loading the money into the back of the truck, and he calls his girlfriend over and he like whispers his plan, and then the minions who look like the Aquabats, or like old Batman henchmen, she walks out in like lingerie, and then the henchmen are like, "Whoa!" and they're like the stereotypical dude with like the mouth getting tongue out.
That.
And then Argument just sneaks in the back of the truck, and none of them notice. And only one guy saw it. He's like, "Did you see that?" And the other guys were like, "No, get back to work."
Did you see the guy come on truck?
What are you talking
While
about?
we were oogling the woman?
It's ogling.
Oogling.
It's not oogling.
Chris, I know, I'm a sophisticate. I oogle. I don't ogle them. I'm not a beast, okay?
I'm not Argo Man, okay? I oogle.
No, Argo Man ogles women.
Yeah.
The primitive working man.
So Argo Man's a fantastically underrated film.
So he's a mix between, like I said, James Bond
He's
And-
definitely there's some influence there
100%.
because he travels to Europe and the like
Yeah.
and the like he
Around
goes on
the
those
world.
adventures
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he's the suave kind of
Sophisticated.
but then he's also Batman 66.
But then he's also a super like he has super. He's also I guess Purple Man, or maybe Martian Manhunter.
I want to mention something about Batman 66. So
Yeah.
recently there was the and I want to
Rest in peace, Adam West.
I
by
want.
the way.
Oh, dude, I was so sad when I heard that he died.
Yeah,
I was at
yeah.
the Manor Grill in Manor.
Okay.
And it was like 9 a.m. and I was with my family and I saw like on the news I got a notification that Adam West died and I got so genuinely upset.
Yeah.
And my family
Yeah.
they were like, "What is going?" And I was like, "He's dead," because. Like when someone dies, like
Yeah.
it's kind of like, oh, they're old, you know. It was
Yeah.
their time, but Adam West was still doing like voice work.
Yeah,
he was
he was
still
still in
doing
the-
Batman
yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and he was.
Well, he just came out with that the animated Batman.
Yeah, they made
66.
two animated Batman 66 movies with him in using
Yeah.
his voice talents, and Burt Ward. They're both still alive.
Burt Ward's not doing a lot though.
Yeah,
He's helping dogs. Did you know this?
no,
He has like a dog. He has like a dog rescue firm that he like heads with his wife. It's really nice.
So no, but recently there was this. There was like the fashion thing. What was the fashion show called? Like I don't give a shit about about
are
it
you
at all.
talking
No,
about?
but my
Wait,
girlfriend was talking.
What are you talking
No,
about?
this comes into because the theme this year was camp. I forget what the
what
thing is called.
fashion?
It's like
Is
the
this
main
in
thing.
one of the movies?
No, no.
You said I want to talk about Batman 66.
No, and my girlfriend like was talking about this, and she was like, no one followed the theme of like camp this year,
Oh.
and I was like, if I was there, I would dress up as
Batman
Batman
66.
66 because that's like the
Yeah.
that's like the pioneer of camp. It's like the 60s with Adam Warhol, and like Batman 66 was like one of the earliest examples of camp.
Yeah, yeah,
And she's
yeah.
like, no, that's not what camp means. That's not like camp fashion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, no. Batman, and she's like, that's a different definition. I'm like, no, Batman 66. And I got genuinely upset. I'm like, that's camp. And then I pulled up the Wikipedia page for camp.
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
camp, the fashion,
Yeah.
term.
Yeah.
The fashion term camp. And then I did keyword search.
Yeah.
Batman, and then it went like halfway down the article.
And there
to
it was?
one of the pioneering, like it was
Yeah,
the Batman 66 TV show, and I'm like, ha! And I'm like yelling in her face. I'm
You're-
like, I was right.
You're way too involved in this, and this is why you're now single.
Yeah, she broke up with me
That-
after this discussion.
That day.
No, she was like.
Yeah.
So she's not a very opinionated, like she's withdrawn. So like, and she with this, like when I was talking about Batman, she like actually got like she raised her voice, which was really
Yeah,
funny
yeah.
because she does not she's like, no, you're wrong, you're stupid, that's
Yeah.
not what I'm talking about. And I was like, no, Batman is camp, Batman. Then I was arguing the cultural influence of Adam West's Batman.
Rhett, I love you like a brother, buddy, but can we stop talking about the definition of camp and how you yelled at your girlfriend about it and get back to the Fantastic Argoman, which you distracted us from for Batman 66,
The matter at hand.
which itself was a distraction from talking about Plan 9 from outer space.
I've had a great time here today.
What did we learn?
Life is meaningless.
Well, okay, let's rate Fantastic. Is there anything left to talk about with Fantastic Argoman?
Is God real? And if he does, why does he hate us?
God, in fact, is real, and he does hate us, as evidenced by the Fantastic Argoman. Is there anything else you want to cover with Fantastic Argoman?
Fantastic. No, because honestly, I really want to rewatch it. That's what I've
You
taken
really
from
want
that.
to?
I really want to.
Mostly
I
because
don't know if I
you're meshing it with 3 other movies.
Yeah, because that's what they're all the same.
I'm
They're
surprised
all-
you didn't confuse Robo Vampire with it, because we watched
And guess
Robo
what?
Vampire.
Red Eagle is in Japanese and dubbed into English.
No, it's not. It's subtitles.
No, but it's all yeah, because their lips line up. But it's all it's
No,
all,
it's not dubbed.
It's all ADR though. You look at their lips and you're like, that's not what they're saying. But it is what they're saying. What is going on?
Is it dubbed? It's not dubbed, is it?
No, none of it.
It's just subtitles.
No, there are subtitles, and so with the release that we watched and have, Red Eagle. This is nonsensical, by the way. This is
just so far
they have
off base.
no idea.
We're not in the stadium anymore.
No, so it's in English,
Yeah.
and it's in English subtitles.
Yeah.
But their lips don't their lips are speaking English,
Yeah.
but the dub is also in English. The English dub doesn't line up perfectly with the English that they originally spoke.
Why is it dubbed
much,
in the first
Micah?
place?
That's what I want to know. It's much like I mean, there are definitely directors who've done that. Of like, I've heard anecdotes of like directors who like the whole the entire audio for the movie was ruined, so they're like, just dub over all of it.
Man of the Hands of Fate. Notable
Sergio
example.
Leone, famous spaghetti western. And this comes into like Italian films, old Italian films. They have horrible ADR and
Hey,
dubbing.
look on the back of the box. It's the helicopter scene from Red Eagle.
Where he falls off right after.
They
the
immortalized
shot and
this man's almost death.
No, he died.
Yeah,
Not
that's what I
almost
meant.
Chris, I want to make this clear. He died.
Yeah, I know. I was there when
died.
you Googled
the
it.
last shot of the film
Yes,
depicts the moments before this man's death.
I know.
Imagine.
I don't wanna.
Imagine if Daniel Craig is filming the new James Bond movie, and apparently it's a big old mess because.
What if there's a reference to the Fantastic Argoman in the next James Bond movie?
So Daniel Craig broke his ankle already. Yeah. There was an explosion a few days ago that injured a crew member on the set of this.
Yeah.
Imagine if in the last shot that they were filming, Daniel Craig died, and then they had to release the film.
Yeah.
And the shot was essential. Imagine.
But the thing is, that last shot isn't essential.
Apparently, like in some cuts of the movie, and we like heard about that. They showed him falling off the ladder, and then before he hits the water, it cuts to credits.
I don't want to talk
about. In
the
version we have, he cuts before he falls off the ladder.
I don't want to talk about Red Eagle anymore, but I want to bring up one more thing about Red Eagle before we stop talking about it, because I don't know if we're ever going to review this one, but there's one more thing I want to bring up about Red Eagle, and it's the fact that there's one of the last scenes in it, because Red Eagle's also a criminal. All these people are criminals. The police went on a hunt for some reason.
I recently,
No, I want to Stop interrupting me!
Oh my god!
Okay, so Red Eagle, there's like a bumbling police officer, and Red Eagle has to escape, and he beats up the bumbling police officer and puts his costume on the police officer, and then somehow escapes, and then the police officer's like, I'm not Red Eagle, and then this had more of a point to it in my head. Please continue.
I'm gonna eat my pretzels now.
No, don't. Stop! No, put that.
You can't stop me!
So go. What were you saying?
Oh god.
Recently you were. Finish chewing, Rhett, please.
No, there's a gag about this in Red Letter Media's Space Cop, where it's all
about the Red Eagle.
No,
or Fantastic Argoman.
I feel like
or
I've watched
Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I feel like I've watched multiple movies in the last week where it's like the hero is a clear-cut vigilante on the run.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this recently because one time we're very much foils and
of each other.
I one time brought up that like if we were the Joker and Batman, you would be Batman and I would be the Joker.
Why would I be Batman again? I remember having this conversation, but
because
you're
more lawful.
I guess
your Batman would be lawful evil. I think at one point you said, and I realized, I think you made the argument that Batman was the actual Batman was neutral lawful.
Lawful neutral.
Yeah, lawful neutral.
Yes, he is.
I would disagree because he's a vigilante. If he was lawful neutral, he would not be a vigilante.
No.
He would not break the law.
But then he's lawful. No.
He's good lawful. He's lawful good.
He's not. He can't be lawful good.
He
could be lawful.
He's
good.
more lawful good than he's lawful neutral.
No, because lawful neutral means that he follows his rules.
No, he follows the law.
No, Batman's chaotic good. But he's not chaotic good, because if he was chaotic good, then he'd kill the Joker.
He follows the law, but purely a justified, like, heightened version of the law that he has in his head because he's mentally ill from
But
the
that's not
murder of his
lawful
parents.
good.
No, he goes around. If he was lawful neutral, he would not be a vigilante. He would go, that's against the law.
Well, you're
I'm
right.
not going to be a vigilante.
Then he's lawful evil. Because he follows his own code of morals even when they get in the
No,
way.
lawful evil would be him going around trying to kill, like, trying to, then he would murder people.
No.
Wait, no, he would not murder people.
His code, lawful...
It's weird because he has that code where he
Lawful
doesn't...
evil says you follow your own morals even when they prevent you from doing whatever your goal is. That's essentially the definition of lawful evil.
I get that argument.
He follows his own rule. Why
Yeah,
are we talking about this?
I'm just saying he's not lawful neutral because if he was lawful neutral, he would not be a vigilante. He's either lawful good or lawful evil because he goes by his own rule in a sense.
Then I'm voting for lawful evil. Because he follows his own rules so far as an inconvenience.
And he is
to
an
him.
anti-hero.
Yes.
Like he's very much
He's willing to break bones.
he will mutilate people.
Yes. Genghis Khan, also lawful evil. I don't know why I thought of that, but I did. I think we've rambled with...
I think this is enough.
Yeah, I think we're good here. So, any final...
And that's why we're going to keep it going for another 15 minutes.
final thoughts on Argoman, and then we'll do final thoughts on Plan 9.
And then we'll do final thoughts on Grimace.
Yeah. I love Grimace. Okay.
How do you think that was a good idea?
What,
like,
Purple Man?
No, the whole, like, well, that. But for McDonald's, they're like, all right, first off, Ronald McDonald clown, that's like in the 50s when clowns were still, like,
popular.
They were
I found
for one, popular and looked upon positively by the masses.
I found 3 cursed clown paintings the other day.
As the decades went on, they did not go, okay, maybe we should move away from this whole clown thing. Yeah. No, they doubled down on the clown thing. They were like, he's got a whole posse of people. And he fights crime. There's a guy who steals hamburgers.
And there's Mayor McCheese and Big Mac. Is that his name?
And we're going to put a live-action version of Ronald McDonald in every commercial. And he's going to be kind to children.
Please stop.
And he's going to give them food. He's going to walk around with his big old feet and his child molester.
Please stop.
He's going to give the children food and make them happy.
I don't want to talk about this.
He's going to carry around little red bags with big old yellow smiles on them.
I just want to end the episode. Please give me your final thoughts on Argoman. I loved it. Argoman is one of my top 10 favorite movies, I think.
What are I do want to
I don't know. They changed.
I do want to ask, what are your 5 like desert island movies? Like if you were trapped on a desert island, but you could watch only 5 movies for the rest of your life there. Given that you could survive the rest
Room
and you're
5
not
times.
What are your 5 on the spot now? This will probably change in an hour from
The
now.
Room,
but
Mystery
what
Science,
right now?
The Room, Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, Birdemic, probably a Neil Breen.
Birdemic's really good.
Probably a Neil Breen film, and I don't know.
Chris, you're on a desert island. You can't look at your movie collection
I
from the other side
know.
of the room. God is above you saying, I'm giving you 5 movies. Think now.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I guess No, not Plan 9. That'd be a horrible decision.
Yeah.
Manos.
And also,
Manos.
it's too short. Manos?
Yeah.
Do you like Manos that much?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
I know, the only thing I remember about... Because
We're going to watch Manos and talk about
I've
it.
seen the Mystery Science Theater
Give me the
episode.
Argoman! Just give me your thoughts on Argoman!
I don't know. I think it's really funny at parts. Like, it's
Yeah.
like certain stuff has stuck with me, but
You should watch Argoman with your friends, is what I'm trying to
the
say.
basic plot points do not... We should rewatch it with all the guys.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, man.
All right, now, final thoughts on Plan 9, which we started talking about an hour ago.
So Plan 9, I don't know if it deserves its place in history.
I think it's overrated. I think it's highly overrated.
I would say so too.
I meant to
think-
ask you earlier, do you think this set the bar for movies that they just had to be better than Plan 9?
Maybe. I think. Well, it's kind of neat to, because it's very easy to see like their mistakes, like to point
Yeah.
them out. Like the one guy waving around the gun like
Yeah.
willy nilly in Plan 9.
Did
Like
we
that's
put the
very.
DVD back
You see
in
that
here?
and you're like, that should not be in a movie. That's not what you do with a gun.
I hope you have
There's
fun,
stuff like that.
I hope you have fun editing this monstrosity.
Oh, this is gonna be so fun.
Future events such as these may affect you in the future.
God
may
help us.
God help us all in the future. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night, guys.